Hey folks, see Rachana Ranade here and I welcome you all to a very important video wherein we are going to discuss about how to fully secure your family financially in 2023. Well, in this video we are going to discuss three important points which are how to manage your debt, what can go wrong and how to repay your debt faster to protect your family. So without any further ado, let's get started. Now let's get started with the very first point, which is how can you manage your debt effectively. Now if you ask me personally, my thought process is that your debt should be zero or it should be minimal so that you can have a very peaceful sleep at night. But there are some people who are like, it's okay, we are okay with loans, but we want to keep it at minimal levels or we want to repay them faster. For that, Rachna, do you have any solution? And for that, yes, I do have a solution. That's what we are going to discuss, where we are going to take two approaches for faster debt repayment. The very first one is known as a snowball approach, and the second one is known as an avalanche approach. Now, if you were to understand both these, let me give you a very simple example. Now, for that, let's take Mr. X, and Mr. X has four types of loans. The very first one, he has a home loan, he has a car loan, he has some appliances loan, let us say for a washing machine, fridge, whatever, and fourth, he also has a personal loan. Now, what is Mr. X required to do? On the due date, he'll have to pay the EMI and assume this is the amount of money that he has. Now, unfortunately, this amount is not sufficient to repay the entire EMI for all four category of loans. So, what can be a solution for this? Basic solution can be he should pay the minimum amount due for all four types of loans, and that is what he is quickly doing. Okay, now after paying the minimum amount, he still has some money left. Now what can he do with that money? Is he going to say, let me enjoy? No, he's not. He should ideally not enjoy. He should first prioritize knocking off some loan. Now, under the snowball approach, it is said that you should focus on a loan where the amount which is outstanding is comparatively lower. So in our example, appliances loan is the amount, is the loan amount where he can actually repay that at one shot. Exactly. Now, if he is able to repay this, can I say he'll get a mental satisfaction that amazing? Till last month, I had four loans, and after repaying the appliances loan, now I have only three loans. This is the way you can mentally give that satisfaction to yourself. You can give that gratification to yourself that, okay, fantastic. Now I have reduced the number of loans at least. Okay. That is the first one, that is the snowball approach. But let us also talk about the second approach, which is called as the avalanche approach. Now, what happens in this? Animation team, if you can get back. Okay, fourth loan again. It is right here. Okay. Now, let's go back to the situation where EMI minimum amount due has already been repaid, right? Now question is, what does he do with the remaining amount of money? Here he will focus on repaying that loan faster, which has the higher rate of interest. And in our example, the highest rate of interest is the personal loan. So what is he going to do? Exactly, he's going to repay that amount towards the personal loan. I totally understand that personal loan has not been knocked off, but at least he has reduced the amount where the interest rate is the highest. So I hope you have understood. While you want to reduce your debt faster, if you want to do better debt management, you can use two approaches. One is the snowball approach and one is the avalanche approach. I'm sure after listening to the debt repayment system, you'll be like, this is so easy, I'm going to do that right away. But could things go wrong here? Absolutely yes. Just imagine a situation that something goes wrong with the bread earner of the family. What if the bread earner of the family dies all of a sudden? Here, the remaining family members will have two major questions in front of them. Number one, how are they now going to meet the running expenses of the family? And number two, what about the debts? How will they be in a position to repay those debts? And for that, I believe the first and foremost thing in such situations should be that the bread earner's life should be insured. Now, there could be multiple types of insurances, but the simplest and the most purest form of insurance is a term insurance. It's a type of insurance where you pay premiums and the life of that person gets fully insured. Now, if you ask me that if we are talking about term insurance, there could be multiple things that we should check out, and which could those be things? Three main things that you have to check before you opt for a term insurance. The very first one is claim settlement ratio. You can also check for the solvency ratio. And the third thing you have to check is, are you getting a good cover at comparatively lower premiums? So let's understand all these 3 points one by one, where the first one is the claim settlement ratio. Now, if you were to put it mathematically, it is calculated as claim settlement ratio equals to claims settled in a year divided by claims received in a year multiplied by 100. Now, in simple words, it is something like this. Assume there is insurer A and there is insurer B. Total 100 claims have been received by these insurance companies, but this has honored 97 claims, this has honored 99 claims. Which one is better? Obviously this one. Why? Because more claims were honored. So whenever you're choosing any term plan, always remember claim settlement ratio should be higher, and so the thumb rule comes up is higher the better. The second one is solvency ratio. Now what does this mean? Solvency ratio is basically a measurement of how much the insurance company has in assets versus how much money it owes or it's a liability. Again, higher this ratio, better it is going to be. It will be easier for an insurance company to repay or to settle the claims if the solvency ratio of that insurance company is more. Now, stronger financial ratio, is it defined anywhere? Are there any guidelines as to this much should be the bare minimum solvency ratio? So answer is yes. All insurance companies in India are required to maintain a solvency ratio of 150% or 1.5 to minimize the risk of bankruptcy, and this is as per the current regulations of IRDAI, that is the Insurance Regulatory Development Authority of India. And now let's go on to the third point, which is about high cover at lower premiums. Now, whenever you're trying to buy any insurance policy, you just try and ensure that the policy cover is sufficient, is good enough, and that too if you're getting at low price, then why not? And for that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take you to a website of Max Life Insurance, and then we'll check whether all these three parameters fit into our specified criteria or not. And for that, have a look at this. Now, the first point that we had discussed was about claim settlement ratio, and here if you can see, they have mentioned that we have come pretty far, beating our own claims paid percentage. And I love when we first try and compete with ourselves. And if you see here, the claims paid percentage has consistently gone up, and which is at 99.51%. Now, if we go on to the second one, which was solvency ratio, I went to the public disclosures tab here on their website of Max Life Insurance, and here you can very clearly see that they mention that the solvency ratio of 190% is 1.27 times more than the mandatory 150%. Remember, we had discussed 150%. Now, this indicates company's strong and stable financial position. So, two things done. One, we checked claim settlement ratio, and then we also checked the solvency ratio. Now, let's try and understand as to how much could be a life cover which can be recommended for you, and how much could be the premium amount for that. And for that, I'm just going to scroll down. You'll have to enter your basic details first. You'll also have to enter some additional details. And now if you see that the recommended life cover in this case is 1 crore. But if you do a drop down, you can see that 1 crore and 2 crore policies are available at affordable prices. So what you can do is fill in your own details, check out for yourself as to what is the life cover which is recommended for you. And to do that, don't forget to check out the link in the description box below. Now let's come to the third point, wherein how can you repay your debt faster? Now for that, the solution is very simple. Ideally, you should have a budget for yourself. Number one, prepare a budget, and number two, also track your expenses. Now there are many people, I'm sure you might have seen your mom or dad doing that. They used to have a diary. At least my mom used to have a diary, and she used to note down every single expense in the diary. And at the end of the month, she used to have this exercise where she would classify the expenses, that this much was the amount spent on grocery, this much was the amount which I spent for kids and whatnot. So she used to do all those bifurcations and check how much was her budget and how much she actually spent. Now in today's world, instead of writing it down in a diary, can you have a simple Excel sheet and track your expenses? Possibility is yes, but more simpler option can be having payments done through a specific app. So what you can do, maybe let us say you have two bank accounts which are linked to two different apps. One app can be used for spending towards necessities, and one app can be used for spending towards luxuries. So with that, you'll be easily able to understand as to how much you have spent for what category of expenses. And if you feel that your luxury spending is actually going overboard, that is how you have to cut down on your luxuries so that the overall savings will be higher. And if savings are higher, then obviously you will be able to repay your debts faster. Well, I hope you have understood in today's video as to how you can secure your family financially. And in today's video, I hope you have also understood as to how you can manage your debt in a better way and how you can knock down your debt in a much faster way. But if you feel that you have some more tips, you have more tricks as to how you can repay your debt in a faster way, please let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. It will be a nice learning for me as well. I hope you enjoyed this one. Till then, take care. Jai Hind and bye-bye.